A message on Le Pen's Twitter account Tuesday night said he was on the way to a military prison where party officials said he would be held at least until a court appearance scheduled for Wednesday. The post included a link to an apparently pre-recorded video message showing the opposition leader seated on a couch next to his wife, calling on Venezuelans to keep pushing for change. If you are watching this video, it is because the government has carried out one more abuse, full of lies, of falsehoods, of twisting facts, and trying to manipulate the reality that we Venezuelans are living, he said. I want to tell all Venezuelans that I do not regret what we have done up this moment in convoking the protest. The people came out, the people woke up. Yankee, go home. Major social and economic problems in Venezuela have fueled the protest, but as the demonstrations gained steam, officials have pointed fingers at other factors, accusing the United States of plotting to destabilize the government. On Monday, Venezuela gave 3 U.S. diplomats 48 hours to leave the country, accusing them of conspiring to bring down the government. At Tuesday's rally, Maduro shouted, "Yankee, go home," from the stage, drawing cheers from the crowd. 70-year-old dies during Venezuela protest. The opposition has been defeated over and over again at the polls, and despite this decision by the people, it continues to call for marches and protests. Julio Rafael Chavez, a ruling party lawmaker, told CNN and Espanol on Tuesday, "The peace-loving Venezuelans feel very, very worried by the irrational, fascist-leaning attitude and actions of a sector of the Venezuelan opposition," he said. This isn't the first time that bitter protest and counter-protest by supporters and opponents of the government have threatened political stability in Venezuela over the past decade. Many of Maduro's claims of U.S. intervention of assassination plots were also loved by the late President Hugo Chavez. Chavez was briefly ousted in a coup in 2002, but otherwise outlasted the protest and repeatedly won re-election and ruled for 14 years until his death last year after a long battle with cancer. The U.S. State Department has repeatedly denied Venezuela's accusations, asked whether the United States backs reports saying. John McCain told CNN Tuesday that his country backs the people's right to express their will, to object to corruption, the repression of the media, and the arrest of political dissidents. Opposition leader, government wants confrontation. The current protests are the biggest that the Maduro government has faced in its 11 months in power. The last death came Monday when a 17-year-old was hit by a truck and killed at a protest in the northeastern city of Carúpano, a government official said. Le Pen's party, Popular Will, has accused the government of being responsible for violence during the protest. At Tuesday's rally, Maduro stressed that the socialist revolution he now leads is peaceful and democratic. What I want is peace, dialogue, understanding, coexistence. Madro said, "It is what I want and what I am doing." But another opposition leader said that the government's actions paint a different picture. The latest actions we've seen from the government indicate that far from fomenting a climate of peace, it is trying to fortify the climate of confrontation and violence that the world has seen in emergence. Former presidential candidate Hieronyk Caroliles told CNN and its panel. Corporals has backed away from calling for massive protests, saying they are ineffective and play into the government's narrative, but he said Lepos was his support. The protests will continue as long as the government gives no sign of resolving the problems of the Venezuelans, Corpels said. At least 7 people were injured when gunfire erupted during a protest Tuesday in the northern city of Venezuela on Tuesday. CNN affiliate Globevision reported. One of them, according to 2 officials who did not wish to be identified, was a local beauty queen. Officials at least 4 killed in the southern Beirut explosion. CNN at least 4 civilians were killed in 2 blasts in southern Lebanon. Health Minister Will Abu Fawar told reporters Wednesday 2 additional bodies may or may not be those of suicide bombers. Our forensic experts are at the scene of the crime to confirm if these were the suicide bombers or if they are 2 bystanders, he said. There were also 103 injuries. The explosions took place in the same neighborhood where militants attacked the Iranian embassy in November, state news media reported. Lebanon's state news agency NNA reported that the explosions took place about 100 meters apart. One happened near the Iranian Cultural Chancellery. A second blast took place near the Henry Shahab military base. The Al-Qaeda linked militant group Abdullah Azam brigades claimed responsibility for the attacks. The same group employed the same pattern in the November attacks. Nearly 2,000 people died in that incident. Afterward, the group warned that more attacks would come unless the Lebanese-based Iranian-backed Shiite militia Hezbollah stopped sending fighters to support Syrian government forces. It also demanded the release of the group's members being held prisoner in Lebanon. Thai anti-government protesters gathered outside the fenced compound. Bangkok, Thailand, CNN. Thai anti-government demonstrators massed Wednesday outside the Prime Minister's makeshift office a day after clashes with police in the streets of Bangkok killed 5 people. The protesters have been rallying in the city for months, demanding that Prime Minister Yingluck Shinawatra step down. Their long-running campaign has dependent political divisions in Thailand, undermined the functioning of the national government and stirred outbreaks of daily violence. The demonstrators want to rid the country of the influence of Yingluck and her older brother, former Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra, who they say controls the government from self-imposed exile. They are calling for the creation of an unelected People's Council to oversee the political changes. Deadly clashes with Thailand's still scared by a severe bout of civil unrest in 2010, in which a crackdown on taxing protesters by security forces left scores of people dead. People had until recently largely refrained from using force on the current demonstrations, but last week, police began attempts to clear sites occupied by protesters for months. Government officials said the protesters' actions were blocking public access to government services. The police measures encountered strong resistance from protesters in central Bangkok on Tuesday. The clashes between the two sides erupted into gunfire. 5 people, including a police officer, died in the violence, and more than 70 were wounded. Police have suspended efforts to seize the protest sites for the time being, said Lt. Gen. Paradon Pathanathabat, the national security chief. Protesters gather. The anti-government protesters, meanwhile, are trying to keep up the pressure on Inlock by gathering Wednesday outside Defense Secretariat office in the suburbs of Bangkok, where the Prime Minister has set up a temporary office. She has had to relocate there after the demonstrators blocked access to Government House, the office of the Prime Minister, and appointed cabinet ministers in central Bangkok. Thousands of demonstrators assembled near the Defense Secretariat compound, arriving by foot, on bikes, and in pickup trucks. Some of them waved flags and others blew whistles, a trademark of their government. About 1,000 police officers in riot gear were positioned outside the compound. It wasn't immediately unclear whether Inlock was inside the offices Wednesday. She gave a televised speech from there on Tuesday. Political uncertainty. The Prime Minister is also facing difficulties over her government's controversial rice subsidy program. Thailand's Anti-Corruption Commission said Tuesday it was bringing changes against Inlock over allegations she failed to act on warnings of corruption in the program, which paid farmers well above the market rate for their rice, but has run into financial problems. Inlock said Tuesday that the program had been successful and that there was no conspiracy to corrupt. The current protests in Bangkok were sparked in November by Inlock's government's botched attempt to pass an amnesty bill that would have paved the way for her brother's return to the political fray in earnest. Inlock called elections in December in the hope that they welcomed help ease tensions, but the main opposition party boycotted the vote earlier this month, and protesters caused widespread disruption, making the outcome of the election inconclusive. That has led Inlock's caretaker administration unable to operate fully.